my vice. Man up from Mars, he tripping, I put that on guard. I got the digits, but I am not calling. Wizard at night, this be that forum. I'm just stacked with that. Sunshine after that. Stacked with that. Sunshine after that. So yeah, you know, I had a conversation with her, but it's like the signals is always crossed. I mean, like, I say yes, because she asked me to say yes. And then she's like, I didn't want you to say yes. I wanted you to understood that a yes was required to answer the question. I was like, what?
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the spot, the Stacked After Hours spot. I am your host, Natalie Cosby, and welcome to the show for Grown Folk Talk. Tonight, we decided to make a game time decision and have the show a little bit early because we are talking about the show Love is Blind. Can love be blind? So, y'all get y'all's cocktails ready, get those fingertips loose because we want to hear your comments and questions on tonight's show. And here at SA, we keep it lit and enlightening. So, let's get into it. Hello, people. So we have our panel. We have another person joining us a little bit later, but I'm just going to get a quick shout out. Brand new to the show, and the reason why we brought her in because her comments about Love is Blind was fire. So she's in one of our groups. Welcome to the show from Florida, Audrey Melinda. Hello, Miss Audrey. Welcome.
Hello.
She got stuff to say.
I feel like a fan right now.
Okay. All right. Next, we have Malik Kayam, our maestro, is in the house. He got comments. This is his first time. Both me and him is our first time watching the show. So I was like, wow. And then, of course, my beautiful host, Lady Sunshine. So y'all, we're gonna jump right into it because this is kind of a little bit of our red carpet. We're gonna call it our carpet talk of Stacked After before the actual reunion show, which we're gonna watch at 9:00. So just a general question, and I think I've asked this all day today in our groups and on our social media. Can love be blind?
Yeah.
You say yes. How so, Sunshine?
I think so. I mean, if somebody captures your soul, I think that's where the gist of where you want to connect with someone through their soul. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care. And I know we're talking about Love is Blind in relation to the show itself and how they met each other, etc. But I think it's the bigger I think it's more of a bigger conversation when we talk about looks versus connecting to someone's soul. And I think that's what the point of this whole show is, connecting to your soul versus connecting to the physicality. And yes, I think love could be blind.
Audrey?
I say yes and no because I watch a lot of these reality shows, the Indian Matchmaker, the Jewish Matchmaker, the Love is Blind. It's all of them. I love it. Guilty pleasure. And even when someone is matched in some of these communities, they still have a chance to meet the person and not go into it totally blind and say, yes, I want to move forward, or no. With the Love is Blind experiment, the way it's presented on TV is that you spend an exorbitant amount of time, I think it's 10 days, without even getting to see the person. And then when you see the person, you think that it's going to be, all fairy tales and dandelions and sunflowers. But I think the human part will set in and say, this isn't really what I imagined in my head.
But Audrey, when they meet each other, though, they do have a chance to still connect or choose not to connect based on conversation, based on anything else that has to do with that doesn't have to do with looks. And so you for how many times you don't see them, you connect with their soul, but you see them now, and this is your time to figure out, are you compatible or not? So at that
Agreed.
point when they're seeing each other, they have a choice to make. Do they want to continue or not?
I think in the real world setting, you would have that choice, but they do have a contract on TV. So
That's
I think
true.
a little bit of that is has to move the story along. But if that were to happen in a real life setting, I'm wondering how many people would go on the trip and then continue back in the hometown.
I mean, I guess I'm the minority because
You haven't seen it.
I do not believe Love is Blind. I
What-
believe we like to paint this illusion or live in this utopia world that we want to believe Love is Blind, and I aspire to think that way myself, or subscribe to that thought process. But at the end of the day, you know, especially, and I would say, and I don't want to turn this into a gender thing, but I think men are more visual creatures. That's probably why we're more in strip clubs, and the porn rates are higher for men than women. So I think because we are such visually driven creatures, at some point looks are going to kick into are going to factor into our decision making process. It shouldn't, because I've met people, and I've met amazing people. And then also what happens, I think sometimes when you meet someone and you don't see them, you begin to visualize what you think they look like.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that visualization doesn't match up with the reality of the individual. So then it's kind of like, you know, it's tough. I mean, I've seen more women with unattractive men than I can
That's
say.
what I was going to say. I think it
I
might be
can
a
say
little
I see
different.
men with unattractive women.
So
Yes.
when talking about that, it's funny that y'all, Malik, you kind of segued into one of the things I really want to discuss. When the reveal happened, especially for people like Clay and Jimmy with Chelsea, I mean, I think about it, and I mean, I thought about it, and I was just like, can you really be attracted to somebody that's not your type in your mind, especially as a man? And I know with women, I feel like we give men who may not be physically our type a little bit of grace, possibly. I'm not going to speak for all women. I know I have, but I that's my question. And I want to kind of start with Malik, because I feel like this is very essential. Malik, you brought up being so aesthetically driven.
I think you're on mute, Malik.
I've gotten to certain key parts of the show, and if you notice, one of the determining factors for Jimmy picking Chelsea was her "I look like Megan Fox" comment.
Thank you.
And you
Right,
see his
somebody
eyebrows
said it.
kind of was like, word? Okay. And then I think when he saw her, you see he was like, she doesn't really look like Megan Fox. And then when he met Jessica, the whole world was like, damn, you played yourself, bro. You know what I mean? We weren't looking at connectivity and personalities. We were just looking at Jessica is super fire and Chelsea is not.
She's
Right, in terms of looks, yeah.
But he sounds like he wanted the personality of Chelsea. Like Jessica was very aggressive too.
I don't think so. I think remember at the reunion and they were sitting there at the barbecue, and you kind of see he was like, you know, you were my number one. Like you could tell he kind of
saw her though.
But I think he was kicking himself.
But Natalie, in support of what Malik is saying, he only picked Chelsea, and her personality seemed better based on the fact that he had a visual of Megan Fox in his mind.
Because you can tell when he was definitely like, damn it, I should have went with Jessica.
He had a visual of Megan Fox in his mind, so he made her personality work.
I think also the idea of the child. Go ahead, Audrey.
Yeah, let me get back to Chelsea first. So, in her defense, she did say she gets Megan Fox a lot because of the dark hair and the blue eyes. She didn't say anything about tattoos or the rest of her body or what that might entail. But when men hear Megan Fox, they're assuming the sexiness comes with it, the body type comes with it. And the way she galloped out of that reveal, it probably hit him like, this is not Megan Fox at all. I don't believe that.
Let me shut up. Sorry.
I don't believe he was attracted to her body type. She's not an ugly woman, but I don't believe he was attracted to her body type after visualizing what Megan Fox looks like. Totally. Not just the face, the dark hair, and the blue eyes.
I mean, I get Brad Pitt a lot, so I get it.
There we go. But to go back to Jessica and her EpiPen moment, I guess.
I love it.
I think I was rooting for Jessica because I think she was the first single mom to go on the show, and that has to be hard to do. One, to be away from your child for 10 days to shoot something out of state, and then possibly bring home a stranger, introduce them to the system, and then figure out if that's going to be something best for you and your child.
Right.
That's a lot to take in. I'd rather take the divorced Chelsea over a single mother. And you could tell that Jimmy was just not mentally prepared for a family just yet. I mean, if they did finish the experiment, Jessica was it, they got married, if she didn't have Autumn, the daughter, that he could possibly back out, divorce her, not leave any, loose ends behind. But when you bring a child into it and now you're insta dad, the whole world is watching you.
Too, yeah.
27, and the whole world is watching you. Like, I would not take that situation.
Yeah.
But you think if the experiment was different, where they saw each other, that he would have said, you know what, a 10-year-old child ain't that bad, based on her
I think
look.
so. I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
Right, but then it's not love. It's
then
not
I was gonna say
right. It's not the show at all, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So the other question, it's been posed to me all week. Was Clay really attracted to AD?
I don't think he was.
We're all like,
it's like something about AD. It's like AD is, and it's funny because me and my brother were arguing about this. She's like cute, and her body is phenomenal. Her body is top tier. But it's something in her face that is like, Clay looks like he does his thing. Clay looks like he does his numbers. So it's like, I don't know if her face fully reeled him in. Because he doesn't look like just a body. I know some dudes are just all about body. They don't care what your face looks like. He seems like he's a little bit into visual facial aesthetics. And I don't know if her face was quite where he wanted it to be. So I feel like he was, I don't know. Like, I just feel like he was there, but he wasn't all the way there.
Could I ask a follow-up question to that to you, Malik? What did you think about her and her face?
I would not rock with AD.
Because
why? Why?
She's like, she's just not my type. AD's like a 7 to me.
Why is she not your type?
Her face is just not cute enough.
Her smile.
She has a beautiful body. Her face is not cute enough for me. Like, for my personal taste, her face is not cute enough for me. So I'm not just a guy that's running down on bodies. I love her body. Like, if we was on spring break, I definitely would get it in with AD. And I liked her. As the show progressed, she was very cool. I loved her personality. Like, she's dope. Like, I think AD's a dope person. But if I'm being totally honest with myself, she is not enough.
What about the look that
she's not enough visually to keep me from having a wandering eye.
Was it the hair? Was it the lashes? What was it? Was it the color?
It's just overall, just something about her. I would never approach AD. But like, if we started talking somewhere and we had a great conversation, the only woman on that show I might have approached was Jessica.
Okay.
Y'all all want 10s. It's fine. It's nothing wrong with it. It's funny how particular. And look, I think AD knew that her body is her look.
I think Quiet Storm got it. It's them damn lashes.
No. I don't think it's the lashes. I asked somebody else, and they had the same response. Her face is not cute enough. There's like she's cool, but her face is. I asked another man the same question. He's just like her face is not dope enough.
So if
Go ahead.
so if her face is not dope enough, she has a decent body. What about the personality factoring into the equation? Because
face got to carry you.
the face,
It's like I'll give you an example. Like Amy and Johnny. Amy has a horrible body, but her face is super cute.
that's true.
And I would have rocked out with Amy. Like
She's girl next door.
Body's not it. Her body's not it at all. But her and AD have similar personalities. So to me, I'm more of a face guy. Some guys are body guy. So some guys like, nah, AD got a fat ass, like they don't care. You know what I'm saying? But like me, I like to roll over and look at your face. I'm not gonna roll over in the morning and look at your ass or look at your titties. The first thing I'm gonna see in the morning with no makeup and we getting out of bed is your face. And her face I would just roll over and I would kick my, I'd be like, damn it. I would be happy. I would not be happy. I know me. I wouldn't be happy.
Mm.
So
it wasn't the last.
You said that.
Say that again.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, actually, somebody keeps it. AD was cool, but you have to look good without makeup.
Actually, there was a scene with her without makeup.
Bag? Oh my God.
He actually looked better without makeup. Like when I saw her getting out the pool and I saw her on her wedding day, like I just liked her with a more natural look. Like I think what she had on the nude lipstick, she looked better. I didn't like the red lipstick. I mean, she's like, and she's such a dope person. That's why my heart goes out to her because she's a phenomenal woman. You could tell she was very loving. She was trying to pour into this man. So I feel for her. You know, women don't have it easy. Women really have it tough out here because so much is placed on your aesthetics. You could be the most successful woman in the world, and if you don't look a certain way, you're not gonna fare it as well.
Yeah, Clay was all Clay said was body. Look at that body. It was never like you're beautiful. I never really heard that. As we said, and I know a lot of, they said the ratings are definitely up because of the two relationships between Jimmy and Chelsea and Clay and AD, especially what happened. If you did not watch, I always just like the red flags. Like we talk about red flags on this show. Now, since we were kind of voyeurs of looking at the red flags, what are some of the red flags that stood out to you with the couples?
Talking about looks in the pods. I would say
talking about looks in the pods.
Once they met, you could see that Jimmy was not really into Chelsea. I think Chelsea was blind not to see it. Like she just seemed very needy. She seemed very clingy. A lot of things that she wanted, he wasn't reciprocating. She mentioned the whole, you don't want to have sex with me tonight. And she just, she was a bit annoying. She was a bit of an annoying person, Chelsea. But you could see that she needed a level of validation from her man because I think she is insecure. And a man who truly loved her would have given her that validation. Jimmy was kind of at the point of like, oh God, like you're getting on my nerves. And then I think Clay also, he was saying certain things like, I don't know if I'm ready and I don't know if I'm not going to do this. That's not very reassuring to someone that you're intending on marrying in less than 30 days. You know, I think a lot of these women knew what was going on, and then part of it is the show, so you got to keep the ship sailing. But I think they knew that these guys were not for them, especially if you're looking at freaking Johnny and Amy. Like you're looking at the perfect couple who this show really worked for, but they both turned out to be two attractive people who had connectivity with each other. So once you see them, if we don't have what they have, we should know something is not up. You know, you should know something's wrong.
Somebody said the show is scripted. The one thing, and I thought about this, the commonality that I saw between especially Chelsea, is it Amy that was with Jeremy? Who was with Jeremy? Was her name?
No,
Laura.
I think is it Lauren or Laura?
Lauren, Jeremy. Lauren, AD. They were all in I feel like there was a competition. Mm-hmm. I feel like once Matt rejected AD, she went for Clay. Like he was a second choice. Then
Matt didn't reject her. Remember, Matt got caught he ran the same game on like 3 different girls. Like
on the other Amber.
Oh, he ran it on the other Amber and went for the other Amber though. She didn't get picked.
No, she left.
She left.
She
left
left.
the show.
But didn't
Yeah.
he say, okay, maybe I'm making
He
this.
said
Didn't
the
he,
same thing to both women. To both
right, but
AD.
didn't he say, I'm going to go get Amber?
Yeah. That's what he
Yes,
said
yes.
allegedly.
He did.
Afterwards,
He did. So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. She got picked. He picked her over. And then I think when I think about Chelsea and it was a competition. Like
Jessica.
I feel like they were in competition with the women. So I'm just like, to me, that was one of the major red flags because it really wasn't about the dude.
Agree. Because with Chelsea and Jimmy's situation, when she met up with Trevor in the pods, after she accepted Jimmy's proposal, Trevor said, well, if we had our meeting first, would we be engaged? And she couldn't even say yes or no because she was that desperate.
I think she just wanted to win over.
She wanted to win.
Yeah.
Over Jessica.
Yep. Yeah. So I feel like it was doomed.
Here's the crazy thing. Like, let me ask you, ladies. I don't even think Jimmy is all that hot.
True.
No.
You know,
Nah,
can I say
Jimmy
something?
looks like
It's
a middle
not.
age. Jimmy looks like a middle age driver's ed teacher at my high school. Like he's balding. But they like going crazy. They looking at him like he's Thor. They like the blonde hair, the blue eyes.
But to his
Vision.
defense, after him going through the show and us seeing how he handled Chelsea, he does have some redeeming qualities. But
Does he?
yeah, you're
I feel
right.
like he was a
wasn't.
jerk to Chelsea at some
I
point.
think he was too. I think he played
was
Chelsea.
a jerk, but I think that Chelsea needed a jerk because she's used to men just
Chelsea was a jerk
appeasing
herself.
into her
I'm sorry.
insecurities, and she needs someone to just feed into that. And he's like, no, I'm not.
She was a jerk herself. Can you imagine being married to her? I'm sorry.
She
I
was
don't-
different than in the
I don't
pod.
I don't necessarily like Jimmy, but I think she was such a jerk that I didn't mind that he treated her the way he did. I'm sorry.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So
Like
can
she needed someone to be like,
this is my thing. This is where I disagree with you guys. Actually, I actually think it's warranted based on how they started. So he was so hesitant once he saw her. Yes, the Megan Fox, all that stuff. He didn't even have to ask her to me. He could have been like, "We ain't doing this." But I know for the show, it needs to happen because anybody could have seen that. It took him a minute to get down on one knee and say anything to her. So let's really he set the stage, and all of her insecurity just poured out. I'm not saying that she was not responsible. She was annoying as hell, but
As somebody said, Megan Fox D's nuts.
Yes.
hello.
I think the biggest thing is that she could feel.
Hello.
I think
Hi,
she
guys.
could feel. I think Chelsea, and this is something that men have to be mindful of. I think she could feel his hesitancy and his apprehension with her. So if you truly love someone, you can either help alleviate that, you can mitigate it, or you can intensify it. So he could have been like, like, babe, I know you said this, but listen, I'm still rocking with you. But it's like you can't fake feelings. And I think she felt that he was not into her. She felt it.
Would you be into her with that voice alone?
But I mean, here's the thing. That's the same voice he heard in the pods. That's the same voice that he
No. Her voice
No,
changes
no.
depending on what she wants.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
She was
She has a whiny voice. I get that.
That was manipulative.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Hey,
the other thing is, though, Jimmy also did not help when they all got together and met each other for the first time. And he was like, damn, AD, that body. Woo!
Yeah.
He did not help her when he did that. He made her even more insecure.
I mean, here's what I know. I don't think Jimmy wanted AD. So if I compliment a woman, but I'm saying if I compliment a woman and my lady is confident that I don't want that woman, like I typically only compliment women that I know my lady knows I don't want. So I feel like if
salivating a little bit.
But Chelsea, but you have a point there. If your lady is confident, Chelsea was not confident, so therefore he was kind of in the wrong for doing that. And then she tried to play the cool girl. Oh my God, AD, Jimmy said blah 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 blah. Like she was okay with it, and I'm like,
But let's
Then,
be
okay,
honest.
so was
face
she
pump.
wrong?
Like, come on.
AD
So now,
was
okay,
banging.
let me ask you: was she wrong when she said that Johnny and Amy were the best couple? Because maybe that spoke to some of Jimmy's insecurities. Because remember, he said, "Why would you think they're a better couple than we are?"
No.
Well, it was the truth.
No, at that time he was looking for an out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I think-
she may
What
have
were you
been
going to say, Olu? You were saying that AD's banging.
Her body was a 10. Now the eyelashes and the wig and all that, nah, that had to go. I'm sorry. And maybe that's what some of the things that Clay saw and said, I'm not doing this. But yeah, I mean, I can understand why some woman be intimidated with AD's body. AD's body, she was her body was banging from the pod.
So do y'all? So I want to ride with AD a little. I mean, and AD a little bit.
Okay.
She talked about her going to therapy and so on and so forth in the pod. But do you feel like her picker was off, or did she just constantly get bamboozled by both? Like, I'm trying to understand. People are like, oh, I've seen stuff where the nice girl always finishes last, so on and so forth. Olu, I kind of want your thoughts. What do you think about just AD and how she picked Matt first, then she picked Clay, and she didn't win.
Clay just has game. I mean, that dude came with a Bible, was reading Bible scriptures. So you do that to a woman will think maybe, this is the guy, and she went with him. And Clay, the all-star athlete, he's probably been, feels like he's God's gift to women, and he came with that game. And I think AD just fell for it. And I think he was trash for what he did. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I know we don't have that much time, but I think he was trash for what he did. There's a point where, you let a woman know your real intentions. Don't wait till the day of at the altar and just to leave her hanging just like that. I don't care what people are saying. He had a conversation with his dad and everything. No, he was dead wrong for that. And, I heard rumors that they're still dating. If they're still dating after what he did to her, then she's a fool. I'm sorry. So I don't think she learned. I will hope she learned the lesson. And, like I said, Clay just had game. The dude was reading Bible scriptures in the pod.
But was he not? So what he was doing is like, yeah, girl, you look good, but yeah, I ain't ready. That was basically
exactly. I think he just
was like his nonverbal was not matching his verbal.
Exactly.
Thank you for
Audrey, you want to say something?
No, I was gonna say absolutely. From in the pods, before they even got to see each other, his verbal wasn't really matching up with the premise of the show to begin with. So it seemed like from the beginning he was going to be a fraud.
Yes. Thank you for
And
articulating.
he was all about the looks. He was all about the looks.
AD also.
That's what I'm saying. In the pods, he said, "Well, I'm not going to marry you."
I think AD was also a bit of a fraud because I think she tried to show more confidence than she really had. And if she maybe would have moved with a bit more humility and grace, because remember when she was like, oh, he wants to know what I look like, and I'm not going to tell him what I look like. And it's like, AD, you've been yourself your whole life. Guys are not checking for you because you're so beautiful. Guys might be checking for you because of your body type. Your body type.
No, absent from the eyelashes and the wig or whatever, I think AD is very presentable. I really.
Well, she's presentable, but what I'm saying is that, like depending on her dating pool, the kind of guy she's selecting from. Like, I'll give you an example, and I hate to use this example, but it's a very crass one. But if you look at most NBA wives, NFL wives, they don't look like AD. They're typically the light skin with AD's body, whether it's natural or store-bought. There's unfortunately in the Black community, there still is a certain
You're talking about
underlying tone of colorism and other things going on. So it's like, and I'm sure because we're there in Atlanta. We're there in Atlanta or Charlotte. I'm sure she has faced some of that. So
I think it's also culturally where you're from. Like Olu, you're Nigerian. How would you rate I asked the question, do you feel like Clay found her attractive? And my question is the same to you as a man.
I think did he find her attractive? I think he did. I honestly
see 1 to 10. 1 to 10, Ola, what would you give her?
1 to 10? I'll give it maybe no 0.5. No 0.5. I'll honestly, so it depends. Now with the
brother, just give me a number.
Oh look, we only got 30 more minutes. Come on.
No. Sorry, with the so I'm saying without the eyelashes and the wig, I'll give her a 7.
And look, what did I say, Natalie?
You said a 7.
7
You
too.
said a 7.
There's no wrong with 7. I see sisters out here with 5, 6. They.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but most guys we shooting for 10.
So I guess my question is somebody said the whole show is blind, therefore Clay was inappropriate to even ask for what she looked like.
Mhm.
But I think my question is like, despite once we come out of the pods, we're still driven by the physical
Aesthetics.
appearance.
Correct, exactly. Aesthetics counts. Let's not deceive ourselves. I said something on when I was watching the show, and I watched season 3 or 4, I think with SK. That was a Nigerian dude. I was supposed to interview.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
and Raven. Mhm.
And Raven, right? And look at what he did, and he just made all Nigerian men look bad, of course. But I digress. So I said I wasn't going to watch the show again, and then I saw that Clay and AD were trending. I said, let me just watch the show, and started watching it and everything. And I just thought the show is pretentious. I think it's performative. I honestly think it's scripted, but let's really put two people that are really not too easy on the eye, that don't really look too good, and let's see how far they would fare on the show.
I mean, I'm sorry, the other brother, he was not.
Oh yeah, Kenneth. Kenneth, he wasn't the
His dog was a 4.
You meant the church
The
boy,
only thing he had was height.
the principal.
But she
Yeah,
was
the principal.
wrong
Oh,
with him.
Yeah, the
that was
You
principal.
see, even that white woman, she left him. She was like, I'm not really feeling you.
He said I
No,
identify as
he
black.
left her.
No. Remember, she was like, that craving I have, I don't have. And remember, he said, well, if you don't have that craving, we shouldn't do this.
Right, but it's because he wasn't giving her any attention.
Exactly. He was
She
always
was
in
not
his
really
zone.
feeling him. I could tell. She was looking at him like, ugh.
And that was
No,
after the
she was.
conversation with
She
him and
was
AD. Come on.
That was like,
It was
she had this whole BBC vision in her mind, and he did not live up to that. Because remember, they were practicing.
What? No.
That white woman
Malik, you're
was not
changing
feeling
the
him.
narrative.
I'm telling you, she wasn't feeling. Remember when they was in the kitchen and they sat down and had that conversation?
Right, but because she was not giving him any attention, he was not giving her any attention.
Right.
It wasn't about
I
the
don't
way
think she
he
liked him.
looked.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I try to be
He
more
liked
intuitive with
him.
women.
He didn't like her because she was a white. It was the first white woman he ever dated.
So you
And
thought
he was
you thought he was struggling with being with a white woman?
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't see that at all. I thought it
That's
was
about, how are you going to raise our kids and everything? He had to go beat it, man.
He was whack.
Yeah, I thought she didn't like him at all.
He already called his boyfriend on the side and was like, "Look, I'm coming over." After they broke up.
Wait. You said he called his boyfriend?
Audrey, your face is what, Audrey?
That thing is crazy.
Am I lying?
Have you been
Am I
reading the
lying?
blogs?
No, what did the blog say?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That maybe
he's not sugar in his tank or something.
that maybe he was a little sweet.
Oh, well, you can tell that.
Somebody said the same thing about Clay. They said the same thing about Clay.
So I think Clay is hypersexual because of the things that he witnessed his father do.
Mhm.
I don't believe that Kenneth is sweet. I think he's a little socially awkward and he's into the church, and we know how some of those men can be. And
He's like, let us pray.
he's super into the church. I think he's on a ministry or something. So they're a different breed too. And I'm not saying anything bad about. I've got ministers in my family, but I don't believe that he's gay. But the blogs were saying that wasn't just attracted to women.
He said he called his boyfriend. I'm coming. Yeah, Natalie's mean. Natalie was
I'm like, you've been reading the
Did
blog.
he know?
You've
He
been
was
reading
like,
Red.
I'm coming.
Somebody said, no, Ken is sweet. I thought that from the beginning. I need y'all to stop. Look, hey,
No,
hey,
but I
OG
also-
Trader.
Can I say something, please? Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
So the whole premise of the show is love is blind. So you guys are supposed to fall in love with each other without
Right.
seeing each other, just based on emotions, just feelings. You guys are really interacting. How does all that change when you finally see each other? That's what I don't understand. It's like they're so ecstatic, they're so happy until they start really physically interacting
But
with each other.
Olu, come on. If you fell in love with someone, remember Friday with I'm 5'2", I look like Janet Jackson.
Right, exactly. So
okay, so
love is
think
not
about
blind. Physical count.
think about falling in love with her and she show up.
I'm out.
Come on now.
I'm Swayze. I'm Ghost.
He said, "Bye,
Hey.
Felicia."
Looks
But
matter.
that was
Let's be
one
honest.
phone conversation with Chris Tucker. I mean, they had multiple conversations. Yes, look, I think the question is can we throw our type out of our minds? I feel like women are a lot more accepting. Whatever your type in your mind is, like your ideal, I feel like it's hard for men to turn off that switch. Am I wrong, fellas?
Because looks is
Like,
important.
God forgive me if I was in one of those pods and I'm feeling this girl and everything. If she comes out and she has a long back and no ass, pew, I'm out.
I can't with him.
Yeah.
He said a long back.
No,
Yeah. I'm gone.
We're moving on.
You better have a body. You need to have a body like AD. Then we can start we can start the conversation.
So can I just piggyback a little bit onto what you're talking about with AD's body? I think that's what it is for her. People don't see her, they see her body. And I think this experiment was something that she needed because she wanted to show how sweet she was, how good of a person she was. And she was exactly that. But people just cannot separate her look from her personality. And I think
I feel like it sounds like because to me, when I look at their relationship, she was very appeasing to whatever he needed. Yes. I know you have this trauma. I know like she was trying to be what men tell us always to be to our men.
Soft, compliant,
soft, comforting, all this. It still was not enough.
Submissive,
right.
all that stuff.
The red flags. Yeah. Clay was painted in red. Now he just didn't have red flags. It was red all over. All that, I don't have time, I gotta work, all that stuff. If a woman really means something to you, you will make the time. Say that one more time. Men make time for things that are important to them. If that woman is important to him, he'll make time. So women, don't fall for that BS that, I'm busy, and you're not that busy. Trust me, you're not that busy.
I agree.
Make the time. So that's one of the, I think that's it. If the man is saying he's busy, he's too busy, you don't see him in 2-3 days, no, don't accept that.
Thank you.
So before we move on, because I do want to talk about the parents, I've been rewatching episodes to kind of prepare for this. Do you think Clay would have eventually married her if she were just like, okay, cool, let's wait?
No.
No.
Clay wasn't marrying her ab initio
at all.
Day one.
Yeah.
Clay is an F boy.
You think he's a fuck boy? Okay. All right.
And what Clay came onto the show for is to advertise his business.
Oh, and Thea, come on.
That was his strategy. That was his strategy from ever since. He had no business in any kind of relationship with anyone.
Yes.
What was his business besides selling tech stuff and doing Airbnbs? And nobody
But what I'm trying to say is, Clay is someone that does not take personal responsibility, and that is something that's extremely triggering for me.
Preach.
You're not gonna sit here and tell me I did this because my father did that, or I did this because my mother did that, or I saw something on TV and that's why I did that, or you was this and that's why I did that. Where is the personal accountability and responsibility? And I think his mama cuddles him, because when they had that meeting and he did not come home and they told the mama about that, what the mama said, he's working hard and blah, 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 blah. She didn't get in his ass like she should have. She did not.
Accountability. So I do kind of agree that men tend to behave and act based on what they see. Honestly, my example is, and some women think it's weak, they think it's soft, but I try to treat a woman the same way my dad treated my mom. My dad used to cook. He used to iron my mother's clothes. So I don't mind doing all that stuff for women.
So then what's wrong for Clay doing that and emulating his father then?
Right. That's
it's
what
just
I'm saying.
the wrong way to do it, but that's what he's
That's
doing.
what
I think at a certain
and you
point,
can tell
somebody
that he
explain
looks
that
up to
to
his
me.
father and
Right.
that he wants to be the apple of his father's eye and to make him proud. Even with that pre-wedding, I don't even want to call it a speech or whatever, where they're talking about his track trophies and accomplishments. There was nothing in there about his emotion, his heart, his soul, him being a family man, any morality. It was track accomplishments, sports accomplishments. That should have been you, and make you proud, son, attaboy. That's what that was.
But let me ask you this: you don't think at a certain point, after you interact with the world, and you see either other examples that reinforce what you think is right or let you know that what you think is wrong, that's when you start to modify your views and perspectives. So, Humble Prince Olu, he probably saw a great example by his father. Then he might have watched the Cosby Show and saw another loving couple scenario. He might have seen other people in his community. So it might have reinforced, okay, my dad is doing the right thing. But now if you grew up like me, where my dad was very absentee, I knew I did not want to be like that. I knew I did not want to, have children and not be a constant in their life. I knew I did not want to have a wife and not be with her all the time. So you at a certain point, I thought it was cool. Like, yeah, he's a ladies' man. But after a while, especially if you have a daughter, you're going to be like, okay, being a ladies' man is not cool because your daughter is going to be a lady one day. So I think at a certain point, where does your own personal moral compass and judgment factor in? And
but I don't think that he has people around. I don't think he has a friend group that embodies that. I think that birds of a feather flock together, right? And I think that he's still in his F-boy era, whatever whatever he is right now, because when he made the remarks to her about, oh, I'm supposed to wear a wedding ring, or oh, what's a wedding?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anything about this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, we've all seen movies, Step Brothers, and there was a wedding in it. This man is too naive to know what a wedding is. Everything was brand new to him. And I feel like with him, it's just a checklist of what a husband should be, because he's trying to be something to make his father proud. And I don't think that it's coming from inside of him wanting to get married and have a relationship. I think it's the optics of what that is to make his parents proud. You could tell he's a mama's boy and a daddy's boy, and he just wants to make his parents proud for some reason. The track accomplishments, him being an entrepreneur and a businessman, it's just another.
I feel like there's I think sometimes with and he's an attractive man. So I feel like sometimes when we have attractive Black young sons who are tall, athletic, and smart, we forget to pour like, how do you be? And I don't necessarily. I'm not a man, but the raising of Black men, like instead of using your aesthetic to kind of drive everything and all your attributes, like where is the care? Where's the kindness? Where is the understanding that people are going to need you and your accountability? I feel like he was always on a pedestal. He was like, right. It's like I could do no wrong.
Exactly.
Was he the oldest? Do you know?
He didn't really work on his characters. Is that what you're trying to say? Or
I don't know if I think part of it is how he's raised. And I always feel like there are certain brothers who get a pass based on how they look, how they present. I think sometimes sisters just allow them to do what may. The funny thing is like Clay and AD's relationship is very common to relationships I see every day.
I agree.
Yeah.
To me, Clay, also, you could tell that what Natalie's saying is very true and on point, because it just seems like Clay was never even serious.
Exactly.
He always just seemed to have a very, very blasé, jokey vibe about everything. And it's like he was never like, it's like you see how like at a certain point, Johnny, even when he said something that he thought might offend Amy, was like, listen, this is how I feel about having children. So we need to get some kind of birth control in place. Like, he like Clay never seemed to want to have serious discussions And if he would try to venture into a serious discussion, he did it in a very casual way. He didn't say like, listen, this is my 5-year plan for us. This is what I see us doing. It's just kind of, yeah, you know, I'm slinging boats. I'm working in nightlife. Even the fact that he let his wife work in nightlife, or his potential wife, I thought that was kind of whack. Like, why would I want my wife bartending or doing whatever the fuck she was doing in the club at night? Like, it just, I don't know. I just didn't like how he was coming across.
So
Can I touch on something Malik said? Like, I like what he said when he said that, okay, his father, he admitted that his father probably didn't treat his mother right. So you shouldn't be trying to go along the same path. You should want to try to do the opposite when you meet a woman.
But I think also, if you're, I feel like if you constantly are getting awards for everything in your life,
for mediocrity,
I'm a track star, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. With women, well, my daddy did that, but it hurts, but I'm going to use it. I think he was really more of his father than what he wanted to admit.
No, he admitted, he's like, because my dad cheated on my mom, I don't want to cheat on you. And I'm afraid I'm going to cheat on you. And I'm afraid I'm going to cheat on you because my dad cheated on my mom. And I was there. That was brought up in many episodes.
Code of I'm not really into you either.
No, that was one part of the code of I'm not really that into you. He also mentioned about, well, what if I say no at the altar? Can we continue to date afterwards? He said that before they even got to the altar, and she didn't hear it, or maybe she heard it and it didn't.
Well, I think he was like, look, he was that whole
he was trying to wiggle,
like, girl.
So sorry, can I say another thing to what Malik said? Malik said, and I'm sorry, you said your dad was an absentee father, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But you said you didn't want to be that.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Exactly. So I'm thinking Clay should have gone with the same outlook in life, saying like, you know what? I saw what my dad did to my mom's. I wouldn't want to do that to another woman.
But he said that.
But I also think, I'm going to be honest.
No, but he said that.
He did. He did
but
say
that. I'm going to be honest. I think the caveat.
Say that before you smash. Don't say that after you smash.
But no, you know what I think? Olu, I think the caveat for me was that I became a father. So I never became a husband. So maybe, and because I didn't really witness all the facets of my parents' marriage, I don't know how I would have been as a husband, but I saw how my dad was as a father. And I said, I didn't want to replicate that in fatherhood because I saw how it, so I'm thinking it would have been a parallel, but then, sometimes when you're out there dating, you don't really internalize this woman is like my mother or my sister. You're just like, hey, I'm trying to live and score. And I think for as much as Clay accomplished, he still seemed to be living in his dad's shadow. Like, it was just something about when his dad came on camera, he just seemed like a real smooth OG. Like, he wasn't even trying. The mother was still kind of checking him out. He was walking around in his little slick suit. He had his little Divine Nine frat pin on. His dad had a vibe to him. Yeah, and it seemed like his dad's vibe was effortless.
I heard the alphas don't claim him.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like sometimes it's like being Barack Obama's son, maybe. Like Clay's trying to live up to something that probably isn't even true. It doesn't even exist.
So can I ask you guys a question? What did you feel when Clay said that his dad used to take him on his rendezvous?
Oof.
Go ahead, Audrey.
Listen, that's personal to me as well, too, because I've experienced that.
Whoa.
I haven't, but it's just like how before the show, I think it was Malik saying that he heard him and his mom and his stepdad doing the do. I think that's the most traumatizing thing that kids could ever witness because we don't understand what's really going on. But to be taken on voyages and to see the women and to be in their presence and for them to know who you are, I think that is more than a boundary that should not have been crossed.
I think
I think the father
it is an example of how he treated our mother, and it's an example of how I know I did not want to be treated by somebody. Yeah. So yes, it's traumatic. I know that he has trauma. Don't get me wrong, but that's not something that you should continuously use as a reason why you are the way you are.
Thank you.
I would like to get into his little head about why he kept the dad's secret and didn't feel or take up for the mother. Because for her to find out on the show, just like we did, has got to like be a dagger to her heart.
Yeah.
And that right there of having something that deep, that family business air on television, I would probably want to kill my ex-husband. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like cheating is one thing, but to have my son until he's 25, 26 years old finally say that he went along with his dad and kept the secret all this time, how could that family have healed if something had been said earlier? How could Clay have been a different person had he not kept that inside all of this time and actually confronted it?
Maybe you should never have brought it up.
Well,
I also want to know about the sister. The sister looks like she is adopted, like she's just not a part of the family.
We don't even have time. We don't have time.
Boys look all bad.
We don't.
She don't belong.
We literally have 9 minutes. We literally have 9 minutes.
I think we normalize certain behavior. So it's like, your dad will pick you up and be like, hey, we're going to check my homegirl, Miss Gladys. We're going, as a kid, you kind of don't know what's really happening, but it might not be right.
You know what's going on.
I'm gonna tell you, one time I went with my pop to check somebody, and I didn't know till maybe like 4 years later. I was like, oh shit, that's what that was. I did, because unless they just start boning in front of you, but if he meets a friend, maybe gives her a kiss on the cheek or even on the mouth, as a kid, you're sometimes not even paying attention to what's really happening. You just think you're out and about, going on your errands, running. You know what I mean? Like sometimes a lot of behaviors we do that are maybe toxic or maybe gonna
I think it's
impact our children.
I think it's also generational. I mean, unfortunately, my father had the same experience as Clay, and he did the same. Like, I'm not gonna say he took us away, but he was. I think it's a generational thing that I'm not gonna say men, but especially our men, because that's what I've primarily dealt with. I have witnessed. I wasn't shocked when Clay said that.
Because the 70s and 80s, you just gotta wait in the car.
My father waited. He waited in the car while his father went in and handled whatever he handled. I think it's an interesting aspect. But I do want to close out the parents before we kind of wrap everything up. The one thing that I found interesting was the relationships with the mothers, and just not Clay's mother. I think it was also Jeremy's mother. When he came back from being out at 4 a.m. with the other girl that he was going to choose in the pod, his mother got in his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she did.
Whereas Clay's mom was just like, "Are you okay, babe?" Like, I felt like there was a lot. That's why I said it was just kind of, there's a coddle. I know we love our sons, but I'm just like, as women, I feel like we always sometimes even when our sons do wrong, sometimes we just throw the girl under the bus or don't address it. I get it.
I've seen women give their husbands hell, but when they I've seen women give their husbands hell because their husbands cheated. But when the son cheats, they tell the daughter-in-law, don't worry, he's just a man. That's how men behave and everything.
Thank you.
That's dead.
I mean, I think there's like there's like a cyclical curse or like something on Black people that I think a lot of mothers, innately are trying to protect their sons from historical trauma. So they might allow your current BS to slide because they think like the Black man has, that's the narrative. The Black man has it so difficult in the world. So the one place of solace and comfort should be your home. And I think mothers kind of use that as a blanket to just let us get away with it. Because even my mother, now that I'm older, I told my mother, there's certain times when I did this, you should have checked me, Ma, or I shouldn't have done this that way. But I think, it's like, they deal with maybe being single parents. So they feel stigma about that. They, deal with maybe not being able to buy you everything you wanted over the years. And they deal with, the police and, the attention Black men get in the media. So I think a lot of times the mothers are overcompensating for everything that they think we go through in life. And they allow certain character building moments to not take root in us because they're just so worried about the broad strokes that they don't sometimes pay attention to the little details of our lives.
And what about the mothers and the daughters? Because I think AD's mom and her conversation with AD when Clay came, I think might be a little bit, it just felt a little bit different from how Clay's mom dealt with him.
Well, yeah, I think black mothers are trying to prepare their daughters for the world, but they're trying to protect their sons. That's what I think the big difference is.
I agree. I think she said, I have put a lot of work into this girl. Like, and she I think she was like, don't come at me with the BS about your father. That's kind of what she said in a nutshell. Like, I don't want to hear that bullshit. We all got, like, we're black people. We got trauma. Get over yourself and just do some work and get over it. That's how I took the conversation from them. Like, she's like, if you're going to bring in your parents' trauma into the relationship, of course there's going to be trauma.
So can I ask you guys, do you think he was really being sincere with that, or he was just using that as an excuse? Because all of us can use trauma. We can use trauma from past relationships. We can use trauma from stuff other people have experienced. But when you get in a relationship, it's good to be sincere and let your true and real intentions be known. I don't think Clay was doing that from jump. I think, Anthea rightfully said, he wanted to promote himself. He wanted to stretch that 15 minutes of fame to an hour. And he just went along with the whole.
Went along for the ride, trust me.
Went along for the ride, yes. So
I think he was sincere. I don't think that he is mature enough to be malicious in his time on Love is Blind, if that all that's making sense.
How old is he?
He's not 30.
30.
He's not 30
Yeah,
yet.
and I also read on some.
He's 30.
I thought he was still 20 something. I thought he was still
30.
20.
AD was 32. And ladies,
No, she's 32. He's 30.
yeah, ladies, leave these younger men
28 or
alone.
29. But going back to what I was saying, I did read on some blogs that he got approached on Instagram by the producers. He didn't know what the show was and hadn't even watched an episode before he got into the pods. So that might go to prove something that Miss Thea was saying about promoting himself, because
Exactly.
he wasn't there for, that's why I said before he got into the pods, he was a fraud. He wasn't there for the right intentions.
Right.
For the premise of the show.
How did Kenneth get on the show? Because I don't get that.
Oh. We need another hour next week.
That is another hour next week. That is. Could y'all have been on a show like this?
No.
I would do it for the adventure.
I
don't
feel like
know
I would want to be on a show like that.
Yeah, like,
I would have too much anxiety.
You said you would want to do it for the adventure, Audrey?
yeah, just curiosity to see if it actually would work out for me or not. But I wouldn't stake my whole existence on it.
Would you go for White Man?
It's an experiment.
Would you go for White Man or Black Brad Pitt?
I'm equal opportunity, so
right. And how about the word "I love you"? They made it meaningless. Do you know what that word means?
Thank you.
I think that's also for the show too.
Have you never been in moments where, that's why I say sometimes I don't want to accuse people, because sometimes in a moment you can believe what you're saying. Like, I remember I told someone in high school that I loved them, and in that moment I really believed I loved this person. Now, as I
you were in high school.
No, what I'm saying is that I think the same thing can happen as you're older. You could be on a wonderful vacation to meet somebody that you're backpacking through Mexico with, and you could feel like, damn, like we have a bond. You know, sometimes situations make you believe.
Love you.
I love
that.
We love sex. We sometimes we say that because we love sex, and we're about to get some. We don't.
No, what I mean, however it gets convoluted. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I like, it's like with Clay. It's as much as I want to think Clay is like lying and trying to trick people, I think in his warped mind, he really believes what he's saying.
That's what love was to him.
You know what I mean? I think he really believes he's a victim of this trauma, and I think he really believes it somewhere.
Look, when you start pulling out scriptures in a pod.
But that was game to me.
I know. That's why.
Kenneth and Brittany did it too.
Like it was an act. I feel like it was an act and game the whole time.
Yes. But I feel like it was a mix of both. I feel like he had moments of where he was trying to be genuine, and then I feel like he had moments where the game kicked in.
It
You
was
need to look good for the show.
How can you tell somebody
Need
you
to look
love them when
good.
you've never even seen them before? It encompasses everything: physical, personality, and sex.
You know you can do that, Olu? Because love is blind, brother. Love is blind.
Love.
So you don't have to
That's
see them.
good.
You don't have to see them and say you love them.
my last question before we go, as we look, as I've kind of scanned over my life with this, and I feel like the things that really block us from love is our stigmas. And those, we know it's trauma, but I think there's also like the stigmas that we have. Olu, you just hit your head. What?
You are exactly 100% right with what you just said. The stigmas. You're right. And that hit
So
me.
I think that's the question. Like, what are some of the stigmas that you feel like have blocked you from love? Sorry, not sorry.
Something to think about.
It's something to think about.
You know, I'll say sometimes judging a person based on their past, and I have to realize that everybody has a past. I have a past too, honestly,
That's a
and
good one.
that's something I'm working on. Like, you know, the whole body count, all that stuff. You know, that's just egos messing with your head, and that kind of prevents you from missing. That could prevent you from missing out on a good thing. So that's yeah, a person's past.
A person's past.
Yes.
Ladies, have any stigmas blocked you from love? Audrey, Anthea.
I'm like the worst person to ask.
I know. I'm thinking like any stigmas that blocked me.
I swear, I love this show, man. We got to do this. There's so many conversations.
This one was good. We're going to go watch the reunion, and we're going to go in the after party at 10ish.
I was going to ask you, ladies, you know, if you just look at Psalms 13, verse 19.
You know what?
I can't with him. I can't with him.
We cannot. We're gonna talk a little bit more about this in an hour. We will see you guys at 10. Go watch the show on Netflix. Love is Blind, the reunion.
You guys are great, man. Another
right now.
Another banger.
Because we're gonna talk about it more, and then we're gonna also talk about our stuff. So, Audrey, thank you. She was awesome.
You.
Yay! Thank you, Malik. Thank you, of course, Olu, and of course, Sunshine. We'll see y'all in an hour.
All right,
or
great.
more. All right, we'll see you guys.
Party.
Thanks.
Bye.